we live? Oh God, this is a fantastic start to the evening. I just dumped out my entire glass of water over, thankfully, not much of the studio equipment. I just had to pick up a couple power supplies that were swimming in water. The packets from Prusa are kind of moist. Oh, there's the label I was looking for. Yeah, I had to clean it up real quick. Sorry about the delay. But today we do have, oh, that came out a bit more than I was hoping for. Today we do have a topic that I am looking forward to, and that is upgrading the Prusa SL1 to the Prusa SL1 S SPEED. It's a bit of a bulky name, but yeah, so the Prusa SL1 is the printer that I go to if I have to resin print something and I'm not testing an Elegoo machine at the time. Elegoo have sent me so many printers. There's a Saturn still in the box waiting to be unboxed, but I kept pushing that back because of non-existence in various stores. So yeah, this is my favorite resin printer. It is a very expensive machine. I mean, let's get that out of the way. The Prusa SL1 S is €2,000. It's 2,000 euros for this printer. That's quite a bit more than the locked down Shitu printers, but you know, this entire thing is open source. The software is open source. It is fully featured. You get the full thing. You don't have to do any subscriptions, and it objectively prints better than the non-tilting printers. It has that tilting bed so that your resin layers actually get peeled off smoothly from the FEP film. So where do I have that print? There it is. And this is a print that I did overnight just to get a comparison between what the SL1 would be able to do and the SL1S, the then upgraded version, was capable of. And I mean, there's like no peel lines, no nothing, even the super tiny supports where I was like, this is never gonna work. Like, this came out, can I show that on YouTube? Like, it's pixelated, but okay. Yeah, this is just so absolutely clean. Anyway, that is the quality that the current SL1 can do, but the SL1S hopefully will be able to do it faster. So, disclosure, let's get this out of the way. This stream is not sponsored by anyone, but Prusa did send me the SL1, not the S, the original SL1 a while ago for review, as well as the CW1, and they also sent me the upgrade kits for the SL1S upgrade. They did not pay for this unboxing, for the review. They do not get to have any influence on what I say whatsoever. And with that, I think we should start digging in here. Before these packages get completely soaked. So it is two packages that are, Paul, man, it is two packages. I will need to get another towel sometime. Upgrade SL1S, and this is an unlabeled one, so we're gonna have to see what's in here. So actually, let's start out with this one, because I think that's the one that is more soaked out of the two. There we go. So I'm hoping they sent me some resin. There we go. It is, in fact, resin, and I think this is their new Prusa resin. They've had Prusa filaments for a while. But I guess they have like a total of 3 varieties right now. So I would think this is all 3 of them. How do I get in here? There we go. So this is another plastic bag, that's good. Prusa resin. This is the anthracite gray rough. They've always had like Prusa resin, but this is now Prusa resin, and I don't know what the difference is with this. Whether this is something they're now making in-house, which I mean, that would be a bold move, but yeah, it is, I guess, a more Prusa resin. So we've got the Prusa orange, and I've had the Prusa orange in their original Prusa resin variety. And that was, it's good resins. The thing is, though, the Prusa mint resins are quite expensive. So it's around 66 bucks, I think, for a 1 liter bottle. And that is much more than, you know, the Elegoo resins or the Ceritex. And I'm not sure how much better this is, because this is the first time I'm seeing it. So that is going to be something I can have a look at too at some point. So actually, let's move those to the back. All this stuff is also linked in the video description. Those are affiliate links if you want to check those out. All right, we are starting off well. We are making even more of a mess. How much faster are we looking at? Fabio is asking. So I did some testing in Prusa Slicer with this very model, and I did like I did the print at 50 microns on the SL1, on the SL1 S, and on the Mark III, just for comparison. And the SL1 S is the fastest one of those. So if you need to do supports, I think this was 10.5 hours roughly on the SL1. And on the SL1 S, this would be 3.5. So almost a 3x improvement as far as print speed goes. I don't know if there are any downsides to that, whether, I don't know, the resin doesn't get cured as much during printing, or it's going to stick more to the FEP, or I don't know. But there is a blog post. There is a blog post on the Prusa site that explains all the engineering that went in here, including why they're including the Haribo Goldbeeren. But yeah, there is some very special sauce when it comes to the LCD, to the LEDs, to how they're focusing them. So it's all very much, wow, that is a lot. No, okay, we're not using all these screw types. This will be crazy. Wow. So yeah, there is a lot of engineering that went into this, and it's not just, oh, we're going to give it a stronger UV LED and boost everything up. No, this is done smart, I would hope for. So cheat sheet with all the screw sizes. And yeah, you have the countersink screws. Those are the ones that are used in the SL1. Yeah, I was getting a bit frightened, because if I would have to use every single type of these screws for the upgrade, this will take forever. So yeah, this is, oh, they were so close. They were so close with the weight. There we go. This could have been pie. Ah, leave out the gummy bear. No, that's more than 10 grams. What's 10 grams in here? I guess packaging you could shave off. Just make the weight pie. Yeah, so this will be a 3.5 hour print on the SL1 S. According to the slicer, which so far has always been pretty good. Yeah, come on. Sending Haribo to a German. Yeah. Sending ice cream to an Eskimo. Yeah. So where are we at? We have 2 filament boxes. It looks like this one's a bit overpacked. Well, let's see what's in here. Oh, so power supply on its edge. No, not this is not the power supply. I'm just gonna keep digging in until I find this is the power supply. Interesting. So that sounds interestingly hollow. So far the SL1 actually just had, there's still resin in here, so I'm going to be careful with this. The SL1 just has the 3-plug IEC connector in here, so are we converting this to an external power supply? This is 150 watts. Huh, interesting. Did Tom write the loading screen tips himself? Yes, he did. I think it's around 65, and I'm not sure if we've actually seen all of them, because they are in a random order every time, and it's a different random order every single time. This knife, pretty good, standard Stanley knife. It's a bit clumsy to use, but once you figure it out, like how you have to unlock it and lock it, this is really good. Highly recommended. which is why I'm using it. No gummy bears. No, we did have the gold beer. What did this box say? Electronics and accessories. So couple of screws, LCD spacer, power switch, boost motion cable. Interesting. So you are a couple cables, couple screws, isopropyl alcohol wipe, new power switch. So we are replacing that power inlet. And a small ribbon connector, 5.96 inch labeled. What do we have here? Okay. So this is a interesting. So this is the main power input board. There we go. So this is the same locking style power connector that we've seen on Ultimakers and on the CW1 and on the Prusa Mini. If we can, there we go. There it is. That's that same connector, and it's the one, of course, on the power supply that needs to match. But then we've got 3 DC-DC converters on here, 3 independent ones it looks like, that go to LED panel, and the LED panel has 3 positives, 3 negatives. Up here, I think you should be able to see the labeling. 3 positives, 3 negatives, and 2 T's. So I'm not sure what the T is, whether that is some sort of feedback, but thermistor is separate. So that is interesting. So there's an I2C connection going to this. I guess they can turn off like 3 areas of the LED panel separately and can control them independently. Very interesting indeed. Or it might just be that it was more efficient or more effective to go with 3 independent DC-DC converters instead of building one large one, because these are fairly beefy chokes, and anything above this is like that's a 3 amp converter roughly. So yeah, that's the 3 amp converters are like the biggest ones typically you can get like integrated. Everything larger than that you'd have to build discrete. Anyways, I'm going off topic here. New power input board. There's a fuse. There is a power output, it looks like, to the rest of the board. That's that. And thank you for the 5, Derek. Thought SLA printers were unmoddable. So Prusa actually pointed this out on their website as well, and like justifying the way that the SL1 is built as like less of a 3D printed setup and more of a, hey, it's sheet metal and it's like CNC parts and all that. And as far as I'm aware, the background for that is that Prusa bought a company that had already designed what would become the SL1, and then adapted it to be manufacturable and efficient and up to Prusa standards. And there are cheaper ways to build an SLA printer, but they're probably not. So Prusa is saying, okay, we're not making this super modifiable, though here we go, here's a modification kit, because people aren't modifying them as much. We would rather build it like super well and just make it good as is to kind of reduce the need to modify it. And I'm not sure if I've seen people actually modify SLA printers much, because, especially with like the closed ecosystems like Shitu, there isn't much that you can actually do. Anyway, we get some printed plastic parts. These actually look better than on my Mark III, so they did something to their print form or to the print profiles that makes it better. FEP films, 3 FEP films included. So these are, I believe, the same ones as are on the tank right now. They are user replaceable. There's a whole bunch of screws, and you tighten this over the bottom of the vat. Then you get a completely new display. So, pro tip, if you've worn through the display on the original SL1, just get the upgrade kit right away, because the original replacement screens are quite expensive compared to like the Elegoo replacement screens. So you might as well just get a completely new screen. And this one comes in an aluminum frame. So this comes pre-mounted, and this is a Wow, that's a large screen. There's a 5-inch phone, 6-inch phone for comparison. So this is quite the chonker. Already a fingerprint on here, it looks like. I will need to wipe that down. I'm not sure if that was me or somebody at the factory. So this comes off before we install it. Right, what else? We get hex keys. Oh yeah, I did buy a full set of T-handle. These are VHA T-handle hex keys. The smallest one is a 2.5 though, so I'm not sure how often I'll be able to use these. And also I noticed that those T-handle ones are actually too big for a lot of 3D printer applications. Boost board holder. So this is a sheet metal part, it feels like. Prusa and open source? Yes, Prusa's machines are open source. They're all open source actually, as is the SL1 and the SL1 S. Open source doesn't necessarily have to mean you can build one at home with a 3D printer and a soldering iron. But oh, you get a new print platform too. But all the stuff, yeah, all the stuff is out there. That is, wow, okay, okay. So the old one, let me see if you guys can see that in there. There we go. So there's the old one, there's the new one. The old one is quite chunky, and that's an entirely new, oh, no, okay, so you take off that top part. Actually, let me open this up, but the resin is quite smelly. That's quite a bit larger. You take off the top part and you attach it to the new platform. That is, okay. And this is like sandblasted and anodized. And it does have a QR code serial number on here. So that just attaches to the same mount. Yeah, I was going to say, like, if this is so small now, there's not going to be a lot of room to pick this platform up and move it over to the CW1, because I quite do like this larger area that it can grip onto. But not the MKS, the Mark III. Yeah, sure, though everything's open source. Okay, so new platform too. I wasn't expecting a new platform. I wasn't expecting that there was going to be so much stuff in here. And that's that box emptied out. I did expect a new screen because obviously that is like the core part of the upgrade. This is a monochromatic screen now instead of the 3-color RGB screen that's in the original SL1. So that by itself gives you more power, and this should be, oh, there's the LEDs, okay. So that plus a lot of optimizations and stuff. We're going to look at the new LED in a second. Oh, completely new Resin Vat as well. Huh. So you're replacing so much of the printer. And this is a plastic vat now. So the original vat is just a billet milled, it looks like a piece of aluminum. Now the new one, oh, and you get plastic tappy screws as well. So yeah, this is injection molded glass fiber reinforced plastic. It's still got, of course, it's still got the same exterior dimensions because it needs to fit into the same space onto the same platform, but interesting. So, oh God, resin smells. Resin. Man, that is Seritex fast, and it is quite smelly. That is an FEP film, so you get 3 spares included. You get 1 for the vat itself, and then 3 spares. Why did they just send a new printer? They did offer that originally. They did offer to send a completely new SL1S, and of course that, I mean, it would have been fun to just have 2 Prusa SL1s, one SL1 and one SL1S. But I was like, hey, can you just send me the upgrade kit? Like, I don't have space for that many printers, and I do quite enjoy building them. So I asked them, hey, can you just send, can you just send the upgrade kit? And they did. Plus, I think a live stream of actually building something is much more interesting than just taking a printer out of the box. Though, to be honest, the SL1 was not that fun to build because I don't think it was like intended to be a completely DIY printer. Huh. Would you look at that? What is that reflection? Oh, that is the SL1. That's the cover plus the big softbox that's over there. Look at that. That is, I mean, that's quite the assembly. Though, you know what? I don't actually see, I don't see the LED looking into this. Usually what you get, I guess it's because of the yellow phosphorus that you have in these arrays. Usually when you look into these, I guess you can see something. You can, yeah, there's the LED. Typically when you look into, like, there you go, into an LED, you can see the yellow phosphorus, and when it's focused onto where you're looking into, you're going to be able to see that phosphorus. So that is actually, that what you're seeing there, that pattern, that is the LED that basically gets magnified for you there. And you can see the tiny LED chips, there they are, right underneath there. That's all the, how many are these? 15 LED chips. So, I mean, that is a testament to how parallel that light is coming out. Typically with a reflector, you'd just be able to see the light everywhere, but with this, yeah, this is going to be very well focused. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Of course, you're going to have some light leak out the side, but yeah. So assembly-wise, this feels like it's a fiber reinforced nylon or something. Definitely something with fibers. So 3D printed carrier for the lens, which is, I don't know, injection molded, cast. I have no idea how they're making these. Yes, Pro, I know the UV. Hi there. The UV LEDs don't have the yellow phosphorus. So yellow phosphorus LEDs, they're blue LEDs, and then they have the phosphorus on top that converts it into all the other wavelengths that we need to see white light. But yeah, we have the reflected lens up top, a 3D printed spacer element, then an aluminum core PCB with all the LEDs soldered on, and then a thick slab of an aluminum heatsink, and then some sheet metal at the bottom. So this is a part that is like all the manufacturing processes. It's got a, I guess that's an injection molding indicator or something. It's got an injection molded lens, it's got a 3D printed spacer, it's got an aluminum core PCB, it's got a machine-ish, well, there's not much machining in here. It's got an extruded aluminum heatsink and sheet metal, like it's everything. Is Joe here? I don't know, he's still in Dubai, I believe, at the Dubai Expo, so I'm not sure if he's watching, and if he is, it's probably like 2 a.m. for him. There was something I was missing here. There was a notification, but let's just put this on flight mode. All right, so that's the LED, that's the vat, that's the new screen, couple printed parts, new power supply. There should be a, I guess that's the bracket then. Looks like it. That would be the bracket that the new switch, yeah, that looks about right. That the new switch goes into, and the new power outlet, or power inlet, I guess in that case. Yeah. So that's going to be poking out the back of the printer, like that. And that's going to be replacing the IC inlet. Okay, it looks like we've got basically everything we need. So we do need a manual though. We do need a manual though. So let me see what we have. So we have a bit of a welcome sheet here in German, because I guess the team saw, hey, we're sending this to a German address. Let's, you know, include the German stuff. Help.prusa.de or .com. Detailed instructions for assembly, Anleitung, learn everything about your printer, drivers, shop, info at prusa3d.com, prusaprinters.org for that. So let's check out help.prusa3d.com for manual, though I am kind of interested what this QR code does. This upgrade will only take 20-30 minutes. I hope. Do you have an actual job? I pretend to be an entertainer on the internet. And some people are entertained by what I do. Entertainer slash educator slash all that. Prusa 3D dot. Okay, so that is literally just a link to Prusa3D.de. If it would load up. Prusa was pretty slow for me today already. Oh no, new manuals. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So that is actually taking you to the manuals page. But it's no use if it's on my phone, because I can't really show you guys. So I will do the other option. I will actually do a big ass screen capture and go to Prusa SL1 S upgrade manual. There we go. Upgrade kit. Does that the... Oh yeah, there's going to be a new firmware as well, of course, to recognize the new screen and all that. There we go. 2 clicks and we're there. Hey Jay. Hi Jay. I'm hoping that, so sipping tea, I'm hoping that isn't too loud for you guys, because I switched from the overhead mic, from the shotgun mic on the ceiling, to now using a Sennheiser lav mic again, which, you know, is more consistent as I move around, but stuff like swallowing is pretty loud. So I hope that isn't too disturbing for you guys. I know some people really dislike that sound. So, introduction. That's in the Prusa studio. I've been there. Why is the internet so slow down here? Please prepare the upgrade kit received from Prusa Research, available from this shop. Yes. So you get a new display, you get a new UV assembly, you get the boost board, you get the print platform, resin tank. We've taken all that apart. You T9 Torx, huh? Allen keys. No soldering is required. I mean, I wouldn't expect any less of that. Plastic parts, everything's labeled. Yes, I know. I've built a printer before. That is good that they're pointing that out. That actually the labels are to scale. So if you take a look at the label up here, these screws, these fasteners, they are actually to scale. So you can do it like you do in the Lego manuals, where you just hold your part up to the label, and you know exactly what you've got. How is my English so good? Practice. Lots and lots of practice. View high resolution images. Yeah, so you can... What is this? Dozuki? What's this system called? iFixit pioneered that, didn't they? Yeah, that's too slow. We are here for you. Okay, just give me the... Yeah, don't touch the electronics. Wow. All the... It's the same thing as with assembling the... I think the SL1 S, that was also my complaint. Like, the manual is very detailed to a point of, if you've done this stuff before, you're gonna feel like, hey, come on, pick up the pace, get to it, special symbols. Yeah, we're 10 steps in and we've not touched the screw yet. So, do not throw away any screws. They will be reused later on. Okay, so I'm guessing that's the ones for the build platform. Those are the nastiest ones because they're always covered in resin. Make sure the printer is clean. Mostly clean-ish. I will be wearing gloves, so the stuff that may have come in contact with resin. Some parts on the printer may differ from the pictures in the manual. Yes, because it is being continuously upgraded. John, no, I did not live in England, US, etc. for years. I only spent a couple of summer holidays there. And that, I mean, of course, that is a great kickstart to learning the English language. But yeah, it's just practice. Box bowl for screws. Do not throw away any screws. Do I have some sort of a tray? We'll figure that out when we get to it. Cutting pliers for cutting the cutting the cable. Which cables are we going to be cutting? I thought there was no soldering involved. Before I start, move the cantilever with the print platform up. Okay, it is already all the way up. So that is just the default position it goes to after a print. Remove the resin tank. If you have resin inside, pour it back into the bottle. We're going to pour it right into the new resin. Turn the printer off. Okay. And then remove all the screws. 2 designs of USB and power button. I think I have the old design because this one's not the super newest one, but because this is the one that I've had for a while. Okay. I guess it's glove time. It's, yeah. First thing we do, take away the resiny bits. So, are we zoomed in? No, we are not. So don't cut the red wire. Yeah, we'll see. Thankfully, I am not colorblind. At least I don't think I am. All right, so we're supposed to open up the cover. I guess I'm taking out the build platform as well. And I'm just going to park that over there. We will be taking that apart in a second. The vat comes out, and the mounting system looks to be the same with the new one. So you've actually got 2 screws that go through. If you can see that over there, yeah. That go through the entire body of the vat and into a pair of threads. And there we go. So that vat, that nice block of aluminum, we're not going to use that for anything. I can put that up on the wall or something. But there's your view of the SL1S's screen assembly, and this of course is on the tilty platform, which makes this printer print so clean. It's like kind of spring-loaded. I did assemble this one myself, and it was, like I said, it's not a printer designed to be fun to build, but hey, I mean, fun is relative. There's like, what is this? Type 1, Type 2, Type 3 fun? I think this covers all the bases. So you are little Hex Keys, 2mm. Of course, 2mm I do not have the T-handle for. I think I can take off the gloves again because this should be resin-free in here. Oh, they do, yeah, they do include a little, so this is the vat cover. I will be using this for screws because that's the perfect size for that. Is the carbon filter still in one piece? Oh yeah, the Prusa does have a carbon filter. So the problem with the Mars 2 Pro was that the carbon filter that was shipped with that machine actually got mashed during shipping. Actually, the parts, the printer got mashed and the carbon filter crumbled. Yeah, this thing does have a filter in the back, but there is no new filter included with the upgrade kit. I guess that would have been something that they could just include as a token. They are including 3 new FEP films. I would assume that when you are upgrading from the SL1 to the SL1 S, you will have used your printer for a while, so you know you probably will need a new. That looks very slender. You will need a new activated carbon filter at some point. Those do That's where it is. That's where it is in the back. Activated carbon filters are consumables, much more so than just passive, what do they call, paper filters and stuff, because they do fill up with the stuff they are filtering out of the air. And they lose that ability to filter over time as they get used up. A paper filter, yeah, also kind of loses its ability, but it actually, sometimes gets better, especially for smaller particles. And once a paper filter is worn down, like in a combustion engine car intake filter, it just restricts airflow. But with an activated carbon filter, it's still going to pass air through, but it's just not going to filter as much anymore. So, two designs of the USB and power button. New design, old design. Are these marked? Yeah, new design with the single connector, old design with the... Oh, I do have the new design. Cool. Not much to... Well, I guess you can see that right down here. So, single connector, it seems like, yep, that's coming right off. And then so the actual touch screen, actual user interface screen, stays in the printer. And we've just got the bottom shroud off. Let's place this in a large empty space. No Bosch Go 2 right now. Yeah, so the Bosch is kind of... yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. It's just weird to use. Print display cable holder. So the print display, I guess that is the actual masking screen. Two different designs. Take a closer look and check what version of the plastic parts you have and follow the appropriate new design, old design. So new design, oh, what? Okay, so that's like a small strip and that's a larger one, marked 31 for some reason. And we have, yeah, by the way, there's the, why are you so dark? I might be able to add some more light here. That is the built-in power. That's gonna run out of steam really fast, that little LED panel. That is the built-in power supply. This block right here, that's all there is to it in the original SL1. And then here we have one that is marked V8 or something. So that is the old style bracket. That looks like the old style bracket, right? So disconnecting the... No, new design. Okay. Wow, this SL1 is so up to date. Release and remove the screws, remove the cable holder, gently pull the cable closest to the silver rectangle. Okay, I know how to disconnect cables. I've taken apart phones before and this looks to be, yeah, this is like one of those little Lego style connectors. So there's a little cover. Oops, I should actually show you what I'm doing. There's a little cover, and then this one just pops off like a little Lego. So of course that's the actual screen that is now disconnected completely. Yep. Leave the LCD cable free. Okay. Yep. Remove the print display. Use a 2NF. Oh, I can use my T-handle. Carefully, as you might strip the screws when undoing them. Wow. Whoever built that thing must have like really torqued them up. I don't think I did torque them up that much, but wow, if you can strip them while undoing them, that would be quite the achievement. So there is the screen. Yeah, see what I mean? Like when I try and do this, can't actually rotate it. So I would have to do like little tiny movements like that. Whereas out here is no problem. Yeah, that bounced. Yeah, but these are, there must be Loctite on these. Do you think the SL1S is worth the price difference versus lower cost printers? Oh, that's a tough one. Because I mean the basic printing experience is not that different. Well, actually, you know what? I think I do have my thoughts much more well structured on this in the review of this SL1S. But I'll try to summarize those real quick, given the newest development of the actual cheaper printers now being a very walled garden. Prusa SL1S, definitely the best SLA printer I've used. Print quality is amazing. Print speed is good, even on the original SL1. Of course, with the SL1S, I think this is going to be pretty much unbeatable when it comes to just material throughput. These are actually some pretty nice Allen keys that they're including. Machine quality, fantastic. Everything's aluminum. Everything's like super massive. And there is a noticeable print quality improvement over something like a Mars, because you do have that peel mechanism. So those lines that you sometimes see on more basic printers, those are a thing because the prints don't peel off. How do I lift this out? I guess I should consult the manual, because the prints don't peel off cleanly off of the FEP film every time. So definitely the cleanest print quality I've seen. And the big argument, whoops, what am I? No. We're not stopping the stream deck. The biggest pro of the SL1S ecosystem so far has always been you can use the CW1 with it. CW1 also not cheap. Like if you buy it by itself, it's like 650 bucks or something. If you buy it as a kit, it's 500 extra. And that is such a, having a cleaning and curing station is such a big improvement for a resin printing experience that, you know, doing it without one is just a massive hassle, and I wouldn't want to do it. But now that, hold on, let me just, I'll get. Hello? Hello. Ah. Wow. That's a first. That's a first. Thank you guys for the notification, but that's the first that these RoadLink transmitters just crapped out on me. Like literally, they were both saying, transmitter and receiver were saying, "Hey, audio is good," but there was no audio. It just stopped working. Like I don't know if it just crashed. Okay, okay. Power bank module sender. Yeah, there is actually a power bank. These things have USB, these have a USB input. They just have a standard micro USB, and you can plug in a battery. And they used to do that until I got some decent AA rechargeables. Yeah, where was I? Oh, yeah, ooh, Reflector. Oh, that's such a Yeah, so let me just finish out that topic with is it worth getting an SL1 S? It's a much better resin printing experience still over the cheaper machines. It's an open source ecosystem. The slicer is fully featured. There's a sticker on there. It's better, but whether it's worth like literally 5 times as much as a Mars 3 or something, that's going to have to be up to you. For hobby printing, I think the smaller print or the cheaper printers are fine, but this is like the I mean, look at this print quality. I don't think I will be comparing it to a Mars 3, but like this, there's just no like those horizontal lines. Like there's just nothing of that on this print. This looks like it's been cast. So yeah, I don't know. We will see in the full review of the SL1S, so get subscribed for that. Wow. I got that curve. Okay. Look at the pictures that Prusa provides. Yes, okay. Cheap German technology. Yeah, that is actually Australian technology. Like those microphones. Cool. What were you about the screen? I don't know. So click through the pictures that Prusa provides. Yeah, lift out the... Oh. I tried the other side, but couldn't get to it, so yeah. From the right side. That is actually... That's going to be a problem throughout this entire assembly. I will be skipping over assembly steps because it's just like, safety warning. This look at the left side into the disc... I'll just read, okay, disconnect the resin sensor cable. And it's here. Okay. That's all I'm going to be looking at. I'll be missing stuff, so please, if I do, just let me know. The also construction of this thing, there are these aluminum bars going up and down the entire side of the printer, so this is structural, and then the back is also structural. The back is just a hunk of aluminum as well. So the screens, yeah, so the screens, right, just before I take those away, this is so much bigger than this old one. So again, let me get this 6-inch device in for comparison. That's roughly that size. And this is just a lot bigger. So much bigger. All right. We were about to disconnect the resin sensor. Yeah, resin sensor, that's been something that was a bit tricky on the SL1 because this has a capacitive resin sensor. Again, something that the cheaper printers do not have. Where it's actually using... Come on. This connector does have a lock, and I think I'm pushing the right thing. Where it's actually using the build plate itself as kind of a capacitor against some other thing in the vat, and it's measuring the capacitance of that and can determine how high the resin level is, and it'll use that to tell you, hey, you need to add more resin, or the print you're about to do has enough resin in the vat or not. That's pretty cool. Daniel, no, the other printers are not all Shitu, I believe. So I think Creality, I know for sure, doing something different than Shitu for their systems. And I'm not quite sure what Anycubic does, but Anycubic might be Shitu. Well, Zortrex, of course, Illusion. Zortrex has its own ecosystem, but Creality definitely, and Anycubic I don't know. Frozen might be Shitu as well. Cut. Cut the cable. No soldering required. I'm okay. So as always, I've not done a whole lot of research into Frozen is Shitu, Anycubic is Shitu. So it's just Creality, I guess then. So I've not done a whole lot of research into what is going to go into this upgrade process. I've just read on Twitter that, hey, it's a relatively quick process and it shouldn't be that hard. Of course, with live chat and entertaining you guys, it always takes longer than it would if you do it by yourself. But I don't know what is going to be replacing that resin sensor. I hope they're keeping it because it's a really cool feature. But if we're cutting the wire, I don't know. Pull the rest of the cable out of the bundle. So we are cutting it there. Release this. No need to cut any zip ties. Okay, so you're just cutting that wire to not cut any zip ties. New resin sensor cable. Okay, okay. So I guess we're just cutting. We're not cutting the red wire. We're cutting. Oh, I mean, this isn't even zip tied down. So I guess we don't actually have to do that. We don't have to do any cutting. I was smart building this. I thought ahead. I knew wire management was for. Oh God! People who didn't tighten these screws like a maniac. Wow! There we go. So the cable's out. We do need to keep the serrated washer and the screw. So I think the serrated washer is something that got added later on because this cable or this connector wasn't making good enough contact for that capacitive trickery to work. Remove the blower fan assembly. Let's remove it as one piece and disassemble it in parts later on. First screw over here. Hold it. Use the other hand to remove the second screw. Wait, what? Oh, 1, 2, okay. One screw, two screws. So we start with the top screw. This one does have a gasket on there. Oops. This one does have a gasket on there. And you're a 2mm. Wild mix of fasteners here. Clear resins and mono screens can be a pain. Why is that? Is there something in the... Why would clear resins and mono screens be of lesser functionality? Place it next to the printer. Okay, there's a zip tie in there. Why would that not work as well as colored resins? Cut to the zip tie. Cut to the zip tie. Cut the zip tie. Come on. Well, I cut the zip tie in a way where it's like half of the zip tie is gone, but it's still grabbing. Okay. Fan is out. If it does cut the zip tie. Okay, yeah, did that. Not to cut the cable. Yep. That one I did assemble according to the instructions, I guess. Remove the blower. Release these two screws. Do not disconnect the fan. Leave it in place. Mono has a very constant wavelength and and RGB doesn't. Nope. Both have the same 405 nanometer wavelength. It's not the LCD screen that adds color. The filters for LCD screens are literally just that. They're filters. They remove parts of the spectrum, and the LEDs that are in here, these guys, these are 405 nanometer only. There's no white spectrum. There's nothing. There's just the purple that we see as like the purple violet light. It is just 405-ish, plus minus like 10 nanometers or something. So, like from a technical standpoint, the only thing that the mono screens do is they just let through more light. Loosen the right screw fixing the reflector inside the printer. So this guy, yep. Hi! Oh God! Yeah, that's gonna need some cracking first. Did I put Loctite on every single screw, or did I just do these up so tight? And use the no need to remove the screw. Well, too late. Look from above through the display hole and use the long 3mm Allen to release the left screw. Now to remove the screw. Hold the reflector in your hand and carefully pull it out of the printer through the display hole. Okay. Screws may be pulled out together with the reflector. So we're doing that screw and we're pulling the entire. Oh, can I reach? Can I reach that? Whew. That is like, oh, thankfully not done up too tight. That like just reaches down in there. How many hours do the screens last? I don't have any like definitive data on that. And there's also, well, every manufacturer also gives you different data. Like what Prusa tells you is a way different figure than what Elegoo tell you. And I don't know which one of those are optimistic or pessimistic. So yeah, that is the original reflector in the SL1S. So typically reflectors have a pretty bad reputation for just not being super consistent, but I guess for this it works. Well, I mean, for sure they're not as parallel. They don't focus the light as straight up. So the light hitting the actual screen from this is going to be like at all sorts of weird angles. So it's not just going to be straight up. It's actually going to be, this side over here is also going to be shooting flat over into the LCD. So that's, I think that is actually one of the factors what would make these prints blurry, because then it comes out the other side at an angle as well. And you can see that with these lenses, they really try to avoid that. It's going to be interesting to see how well print quality changes. Now, I'm not expecting anything to actually change or improve in quality, because I consider the SL1's print quality good as well. But yeah, it might be crisper. I don't know. Even though they have practically the same resolution, which is about 50 micron, or resolution voxel size, pixel size. Disconnect the UV LED cable connector. UV LED cable may be different, so it's this big connector down here, and then undo the 4 screws on the heatsink. So this tray is really coming in handy. So there is the original UV LED. You can see it's like a very small area, and then like it's all being spread out with that reflector. Ooh, is that a locking connector? It is not, I think. Is it? Well, that is going to be tricky. Release the connector. How do I unlock this? Disconnect the UV cable. Is there a locking tab up top? Oh, there's a locking tab up top. Okay. It's good that that is in the manual. So this zip tie, I will need to cut, unfortunately. The reflector might actually be blurring the layer lines away. Well, not so much the layer lines, I would think, but definitely the resolution limit, basically. So I would guess if you have a light source design that is very non-parallel and very unfocused, basically, I guess I could have just unplugged that as well. Anyway, you would get some built-in anti-aliasing, more or less, for free. Just, oh, these don't feel good. Okay, now that they are coming apart. I guess you can see a bit of what I'm doing in here. Okay. So yeah, that could be adding some anti-aliasing, but from what I can tell, anti-aliasing is, whatever it is working very well on the Prusa. And that is also something with the Elegoo printers. You do see that voxelization, that XY resolution, you see that a lot more on the Elegoo printers. And I think what was it, the Mars Pro? The Mars 1 Pro out of the Mars 1 Pro, 2 Pro, and 3 that I have still delivers the smoothest prints, where you can see like the individual pixels of the LCD the least, still being beaten by the SL1. I can, maybe once we've got some time when we do a test print on the SL1 S, I can chuck a macro lens on my Sony and I can give you guys a real close-up look of that print that we just did of that statue. Andrew, thank you for the 5. Before there it is. Yeah, I've got my cup of tea. Got my cup of got my cup of green tea. Unfortunately, very hard water here, so it does give that edge. Doesn't look too cool on camera. But there is the original. Wow. This is such a... Okay, we're keeping the fan, I think. Yeah, no Google, no. This is such a... This is so much more of an upgrade than what I was expecting. So here is the original LED assembly. So it's basically like a teensy little Intel heatsink. This is like 15 millimeters tall or something. You've got your 5 LEDs, your 15 LEDs, teeny tiny heatsink. This is like, in CPU terms, this would be like a 15-watt heatsink at most. And then you've got this, like, just look at the size difference of like how much heatsink you've got on this thing. No wonder that they're adding a new power supply with the SL1 S. So let me just, I might need this for the review because I'm not getting this back out, just to compare the old heatsink with the new. Yep, that clip's going in the review. That is quite crazy. Yeah, there's no other way to put it. That is a massive upgrade. So UV LED is out. Safety latch on the connector. So we do reuse the cable. Okay. So let's reuse the cable. It's like a completely different printer. Yeah, it is, pretty much. That's, I mean, this is a cool connector, by the way. Oh yeah, it is going straight back on. So this guy, this also is an aluminum core PCB, and it just has these tabs exposed at the top. These are just tinned. And then you have this connector, which kind of looks like an ATX connector of a power supply, but it's not. It just slides over this edge, and then it has this little hook that goes into that hole, and it just hooks into that PCB. That is, I think, a pretty cool, pretty efficient design, and it's got these spring-loaded connectors in here. That is a pretty cool connector type. Connector type. Ah, yes. Oh, camera's freaking out. Disconnect the black and white cables from the power supply. Do not disconnect the cable from the electronics board and end. That's supposed to be an E, I guess. But yeah, so we do get a spare UV LED. I guess I can use that for like a curing DIY setup or something. Disconnect this, so this just unplugs, I would assume. This guy. Do you unplug? Yes. No, it's not the one I'm supposed to unplug. You stay plugged in. Oh, also disconnect the power cables. Ah. Do not disconnect from the electronics board. Okay. 3 recessed screws in the power supply case securing it. Left side of, there is one more screw above. Don't loosen this one. And it always gives you the indicator which angle you should be looking at your printer from. So let me, so the recessed one. So this one we undo, this one we do not undo. Okay. So also this, okay, so this one we undo, this one we do not. So specific. Takes at least 3 months for the roots to grow. Okay, Daniel, thank you for trying that. Thank you for going through that effort of what's it called? Creating some offshoots of your yerba tree. That would be very nice if that actually works out. And then you also undo this center one. Wow. Where did I put my Allen key? There it is. There is one center screw down here. Wow, this one is so deep in there. It's like impossible to see. Chris, grid issue the Mars Pro had at first. So the fact that you're seeing the individual LED areas, I guess. Is that what you're referring to? So yeah, who's asking? Artford was asking, hey, is the power supply board actually inside the device? And yes. This is the entirety of the original power supply of the SL1. So you have your input in the back. You've got a bit of a, oh, with power panning, yeah, it does have the detect port on there. IC connect in the back with a fuse. And then you've got your Meanwell power supply unit, and this is a 24 volt, 2.5 amp unit. So that is how much for the 60 watt? That's all there was to it. And now we have this guy, which is a bit more. Oh yeah, I do need that clip as well. Ha. For the review video. I'm only recording in 1080p, but hey, you can always upscale. Also, most people don't notice 4K versus 1080p. So yeah, we now have a 150 watt where is it? Over there somewhere, 150 watt delta power supply. These units often were Meanwhile also. But yeah, delta power supply, 150 watts, still 24 volts. So quite the upgrade there as well. It doesn't seem safe being on the inside. Well, the thing with built-in power supplies is most devices have power supplies built in. Anything that has that IEC connector has some sort of a power supply inside. Does have the ground pin. Not sure if it's using it. Not sure if it's actually grounding the frame. I would assume it would somehow. Yeah, so the these two screws on the side, these two here, these connect directly to the metal frame, and what you're seeing glistening in there is actually that PCB. So I do assume that the ground pin is actually connected to the frame. So yeah, the frame is grounded, so if anything goes wrong, like it would have to go wrong inside here, because in this case, like this is anything that is AC 230 volts in this case is happening in here, and only 24 volts and the little power panic recognition detection board, that is the only thing that actually leaves this capped off area. It's kind of similar as on the Mark III, where you have that little area down there where it's where you have the power supply and that shroud in there. That is very similar to this. So there is nothing wrong with having the power supply inside your device, as long as, you know, you're... Here's the thing, another tangent. This is why these live streams take so long, and why when you build this or upgrade a printer like this, it takes way less time. Prusa develops their printers according to the European regulations, as in they're from Prague, they're from the Czech Republic, they're inside Europe. I mean, not that that matters much, but they engineer their stuff to be according to the regulations that allow you to put that CE sign. Conformity, European, whatever, that. To be allowed to put this CE sign on your device, you have to follow a whole bunch of rules and regulations when it comes to user safety, electrical safety, machine design, everything basically. Documentation for the user, documentation for you actually engineering this thing properly. There's a whole, what's it called? In German, it's a whole Rattenschwanz. So a whole like Pandora's box that you're opening up when you want to make a device that is conformant to the rules and regulations of CE. And you are required to have or to be conformant with the CE regulations if you want to sell your device inside the EU. Not in Great Britain from 2023. They're starting their own thing, but whatever. And the rules and regulations in here are quite strict. There is a lot of stuff to do, and I know that Prusa are actually doing that. They are engineering for that. They are documenting all that, which is not something I can say of many of the Chinese manufacturers. Like when you have a 5-watt laser diode with no enclosure, they just put the CE sticker on there. There's no documentation, and there is no way an unenclosed 5-watt laser diode passes the safety regulations required for CE. So that is also one of the differences, that you get a product from a company that is trustworthy in like producing something that is safe. This is not, I mean, yeah, that's quite a lot of laser LED power in here, but this isn't like you look in it and you're blind. So like with a resin printer, a filament printer, well, a filament printer, that's a fire hazard again. Like, but with these devices, it doesn't matter all that much as with others. But still, like that question about it seems unsafe to have the power supply inside your device. If you develop your product according to CE and according to the regulations that that come with that, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. There is all the rules for how you handle AC voltage inside a device, especially inside a device with a metal frame. They're there. They're safe. If you conform to those, it is a perfectly safe product. It is China export when the C&E touch. That is correct. Yeah. Though they're using the standard logo now. Like there used to be like China export where the C and the E were much closer together, but they've moved on to just putting the regular CE logo on there. And yes, the UKCA regulations are starting 2023. Until then, it is still CE that needs to be adhered to if you want to sell inside the UK. No, it's Great Britain there. They want to have that great in there. No, it's not just United Kingdom, it's Great Britain. Or was it the other way around? I don't even know anymore. We removed the power supply. We removed the power supply. You will no longer need this part. Oh, cool, I get a free 24-volt power supply. Disassembly is finished. Was that it? Make sure the printer is clean from the outside as well as from the inside. No spilled resin or hardened resin. Remove dust and any grease. Keep the UV LED cable. I'm not throwing anything out yet. Let's move on. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a quick wipe down because there is some resin spillage on the tilt platform. And I do want to clean that off real quick before I install the new screen on top of it. So I don't know if you can see that there, but that's a bit of a glossy spot. Last pink glove. Too bad. So my experience with resin printing so far has always been, hey, you use about as much in value. Well, not quite. Gloves aren't that expensive, but you use quite a bit of quite an amount of gloves when doing resin printing, because you will be handling uncured resin and you really don't want to get that on your bare unprotected skin. Oh yeah, squeeze bottles, so good. Got a 5-pack. They're like super cheap. Just make using stuff like ethanol so convenient. Okay. What is the stepper mode in the front doing? Tilting the bed. Yes, that is actually the mechanism that you can see right now. It is quite an intricate setup. Guess if you go from this side, you can maybe see inside. Yeah, back in there, you can see back in there. There, you can see that almost cam-like structure. You can see as that motor shaft rotates. Okay, I guess I just got it into the dead point up top. So as that shaft rotates, that pulls the bed up and down, and you get like sort of a camshaft action going that pulls the bed down. Because I mean, releasing resin prints from the FEP film, that takes quite a bit of force. So yeah, takes quite a bit of force, and also with that cam mechanism, it is very repeatable, which is, I hear, kind of important when you're doing like 25 micron layer heights. C is a declaration. Yes, that is correct. The manufacturer declares that they adhere to CE, but typically it is, when you are a smallish manufacturer, that's not something you do yourself. That's what you hire a consultancy company for, that then certifies for you that you are adhering to CE, and they are basically taking the responsibility for that. So if done properly, it is more of a certification, though technically you are not allowed to call it a certification, I guess. Just want to put that out there, just to make that clear. Okay, tools needed for this chapter. Allen keys, okay. And we need the T9 Torx boost board, M3Y5. So we do get some new screws. And the wipe. do not handle that. So that's what I'm saying with like the especially with the SL1 assembly guides. It's always it's very detailed, very repetitive in a couple of cases. But hey, you know, better than to leave stuff out. Oh, that is a thermal pad. Okay. So we wipe that down, and quite sticky. We apply that. Okay. Catchphrase. I watched Free Guy recently. Good movie if you go with the flow. Don't question it too much. It's a fun movie. Oh, you do get the sticker. You do get 2 stickers. Ah, I was looking for these. I was hoping you would get these. You do get the speed transfer stickers. You can fully. Do you get the and you get the S sticker? Yes. Haha. I was hoping they'd include these, and they do. Long-term exposure to resin. The thing is, it's not. There is no safe duration of contact with resins. There's no, oh, I'm touching it once and it's going to be fine. The more often you touch it, the more often you get it onto your skin, the more often you expose your immune system to it, the bigger your chances are that you will develop a sensitivity to it. And from that point on, every time you get near resin, your life's going to be hell. So that might be after getting resin on your body a couple times. That might be after, you know, dozens of times. There might be nothing happening at all, but it's a game of chance. And the lower you can get your chances of actually sensitizing your immune system to resins, the better. So, you know, rule of thumb, never get resin on your skin. Like it's not that bad. But is that actually the... That's not a thermal pad, that's just adhesive. Hold on, spare parts. I'm grabbing the wrong parts. Am I? Nope. That is it. Okay. I thought this was going to be thicker. So yeah, just don't get it on your skin. Thermal pad, that's just adhesive. Okay. All right. So I guess we're grabbing this side. So clear protective film on one side. Oh God, this is very sticky. Okay, that just goes on there. Hoping I'm nailing this shot, not quite. That goes on here, folds around. There we go, and I guess this will be pressed down by the PCB as well. And I guess we should be installing this in the correct orientation with the outlet actually pointing out the back hole. And then before I press this down, I'm going to make sure this is aligned. That's looking good, that's looking good, that's looking good. And yep, we've got contact. That is making contact. When I hear thermal pad, I always expect something that's a bit thicker than this, but I guess if you make your tolerances pretty low and you have some sort of a spring-loaded element, it can be pretty thin. So we're using the M3x5 screws. There you go. Yeah, also that's a good point from who made that? Leidebroten. Breakthrough time through gloves. Yeah, so disposable gloves are disposable for a reason, just like disposable masks are disposable. They don't protect you forever. They're very thin. They're good if you need something that you can get filthy and you can get rid of. But breakthrough times with nitrile gloves, which I believe is the correct one you should be using for resins, is not that long. So if you actually get resin on your gloves, you've got not that long to actually swap them out before they start to make, before the resin stuff starts to make its way through the glove and onto your skin. So disposable gloves, do dispose them. Do not reuse them if they've been contaminated. I mean, with the thin ones, they are pretty hard to reuse anyways. They're hard to get off your fingers without crumpling into a ball pretty hard, but yeah, just don't. They're not that expensive. And if you're doing resin printing, like, you're already using an expensive process, so yeah, if you need something cheap, just do filament. So my understanding with glove types, and this might be wrong, but it's my best knowledge, is that you really want to be using nitrile gloves, because the standard latex gloves, they do break down fairly easily when they're in contact with basically oils, and resin is essentially an oily substance. So yeah, nitrile gloves, color shouldn't matter. I mean, I've had the pink ones, I've had black ones, I've got these white ones. Color, it's just a pigment they're adding, but nitrile glove, as far as I know, is the one you should be picking. Okay, so we got the boost board assembled in the rear outlet. This entire thing is really looking like it's kind of an aftermarket upgrade, more or less, because you've got this is an adapter basically. This covers the original outlet hole, which was perfect for the IC connector, but now you need some shroud, some plate that covers out all that empty space. I don't think the SL1 was really designed with this upgrade in mind, but yeah, they're trying to make it work. And I mean, I would assume that, I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Is this actually the same way that the SL1S is built when you buy the full SL1S? Because stuff like this with an extra adapter board, this feels kind of clumsy. I'm sure it works probably, but wouldn't they just modify the design of the actual back plate of the printer to allow this board to fit through without the adapter board? That is what would make sense to me. Or are they really building all the SL1Ss with these adapter boards as well? Grasp the board by the edge. Okay, we did that. Do not over tighten, that may crack it, sure. Prepare the input cover. Input cover, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could machine this part to not need this input cover. You could just machine it with that pattern. And from the do not fully tighten, that leave a 3mm gap. Okay, so we're sliding that in between. Aligned. Okay, and then with one screw, and that's an M3x5. Printed part. There it is. Pink gloves are the best for driving and supermarket shopping. Yeah, pink gloves are the best ones in general. Like, why would you use any other color than pink? So this goes in from the inside. Okay, yeah, this goes in from the inside. That is quite a tight fit. Am I holding this right? Oh, I don't think this is going to fit. I mean, is it? Let me just double check. Nope, nope, that's not the right way. That is definitely not the right way around. This very much is supposed to go in like this. But it doesn't. It does, but it's... That is like way too tight. I don't know if you guys can see that from the back there. Like this cutout. Oh! Yeah, that's not going in. That is like, wait, I mean, can I even insert this from the other side? Nice. This just does not go in. So this cutout is too small for this printed part. That I can definitely say. Maybe if we start with this edge and then press that side in. Nope. 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 That is not going in. Hopefully it's coming back out. So I'm just going to leave this adapter out because I don't think I'll be able to install this without excessive use of force. And it's just a cover, right? It's just a decorative cover, more or less. That is weird. I don't know if they changed anything about the cutout size, whether they're like two different divisions or something, or whether this is just designed too tight. File it down. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, so this goes in, not all the way, just enough so we can hook it over, and then this gets hooked over here. Ah, that's fine. That is fine. Well, is it? Is it? Hold on. Because we do still need to install the switch. The switch goes... the switch actually goes in here. The switch actually clips into that part, so we do need to install it. We do need to install it. Okay, let's try the knife. Let's try the knife, because the knife is always a solution. Deburring tool wouldn't quite fit in here. It feels like it's ABS. It's very soft and smooth. Which is interesting because I wouldn't expect them to use ABS. Doesn't smell like ABS though. I wouldn't expect them to use ABS for just a little adapter piece in an enclosure that doesn't actually need it. What are you? Does not smell like ABS at all, but it feels a lot like ABS. Might be polycarbonate even. Nylon? What are you? Not PTG. Wild guessing. ASA? Well, ASA, I don't know. It could be ASA too, yeah. You're right. They do make their own Prusa ASA, which I do have here. What you smell is the Butadian. That should be sufficiently chamfered. We do have all the edges kind of chamfered over. Let's see if we can get it in now. There we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Slightly and evenly push the... You know, guys, I tried to follow the manual. Just says, hey, slightly and evenly push on the plastic part. Yeah, slight and even push wouldn't have done this. Oh. Carbon fiber filled PEK? Nah. It's just some good old ASA, I would assume then. It feels like ABS, doesn't smell like ABS. Can I? Oh, I probably need to get this out a bit further. So there's one screw in this bottom compartment. Down there. And you're just supposed to hook this over the screw. And it needs to be out far enough that you can still get this connector plunged into the adapter. All right, and I guess I can install the second screw as well. Yes. Yes. Use the short side of the Allen key, but this one works as well. There we go. Look at you, you got a ball head. And then there's another screw hole just over here. Ball head Allen keys are good in a lot of cases, but when it comes to just installing a screw, they don't provide a lot of guidance for that screw. Come on. One would think Prusa would injection mold their small parts. I don't think the SL1 S is large enough of a volume, or is made at a large enough volume to make injection molding everything viable. For something like the, I don't know, Mark IV, if that ever comes out, sure. You also saw with the Prusa Mini. Prusa Mini uses a ton of injection molded parts too. But on the SL1 S, I just don't think injection molding would be viable. So 3D printing, you know, they've got 3D printers. If there's one thing that Prusa have, it is a ton of 3D printers. I'm just going to lay that there because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to install it yet. Not allowed to install it yet. Connect the power cable, or connect the thermistor cable to the upper slot. Okay. They could use printed molds for short-run injection molding. That would be some crazy mold material, though. Connect the thermistor. I guess this is the thermistor? Yep. You go around this way. Yep. So there is a thermistor on this board somewhere. I guess it's one of those over here that you can't see. I would assume it's like over there somewhere, or maybe down here. I don't know. But there is temperature control or over temperature protection built into this board on the mainboard, so it can react like intelligently and just wait a bit until it starts curing the next layer if this thing is over temperature. That's pretty cool. Instead of the thing just shutting down and not curing your layers, it can like react intelligently to it. Connect the thermistor cable to the upper slot. We did that. Yep, we did that. Power switch assembly, push it in. Oh, they're pushing it in with the off face. I would have installed it the other way around. So here's how would you, intuitively, how would you install this with the on facing up? So that's the on position where you flick it up and flick it down to be off, and or the other way. I would have intuitively installed it this way. So on up or on down? This is the official way to... Oh, no. No, please fit. Please fit. Okay, while I chamfer this one as well, just let me know, on up or on down? Thankfully, I can chamfer as much as I want here. We're not going to be able to see this because it's all going to be covered by the switch. On down, on up, on down. Elephant foot on the prints, yeah, sure feels like it. Huh. I guess I'll go with on up. 0 is lower, yeah, I guess that does make sense. So you flick it up, down for safety. Okay, okay. On down except for Australia, yeah, well, Australians are in bed, so don't worry about them. Unless Angus is watching. Angus, I hope you aren't watching. Make sure they're fully connected. Should be approximately 1 to 2 millimeters. What? Oh, okay, so we plug these in. Make sure you plug these in. So we plug them in before we push in the switch. Fantastic. But okay, in my defense, push through, make sure it's, and then you connect it, and then you push. Ah, it's a separate step. Okay, but this is really hard to get out, so I'm just gonna plug it in while it's already installed. It's not too, it's a bit tight, but it's not too bad. You can still do this. There you go, and these are just standard like spade type connectors. I don't know what they're called officially, but that's what I know them as. And there are insulated types, which is good. Not necessary, I guess, because it's just 12 volts, but 24 volts, but still nice to see. Yeah, so this is all plugged in. So the connections are right down there. There you go. So that is plugged in. Arrange the loops according to the picture. Yeah. Did we arrange the loops according to the picture? Pretty much. Boost motion cable labeled M, boost A64 cable labeled A, and a connector reducer. A connector reducer, that's a printed part. Okay. Let me see, that's this guy. And then 2 cables. We have the cables, so we combine these? No. No, what do we do with these? Boost motion, A and M. And these have, well, one's a 3-pin, one's a 4-pin, so it's pretty hard to mix them up, I guess. Connect M to the lower slot, connect A to the upper slot, connect the unmarked side of the cable without the label to the boost board. Through the gap under the electronics holder out of the printer. Okay, so we basically snake it through all the way over to the other side of the machine, over to the electronics board. That shouldn't be too hard. So we've got this one. That's wow. As I say, hey, you can't mess up plugging in a 3-pin into a 4-pin. I tried it. Doesn't work. You can't actually plug them in wrong. Which is, by the way, is very good design practice, just using a 3-pin versus a 4-pin. Even if you don't need the 4-pin, just having a different connector, sure, it does increase your BOM, it does add a new part to it, but when you have them right next to each other, it can make very good sense to just use the different connectors, so there is no way for the connector for the user to plug it in wrong. Okay, so I guess cable management we will do later. That is in all the way over to the end. A little recap for everyone who has just entered the live stream. We've disassembled the SL1 and we are reassembling the SL1 S. There is a massive new LED array that is included over the previous stinky little LED setup. There's a bigger screen, there's a new vat, it's all new, the electronics stay, the ZXs stay. That's pretty much it. It's almost a whole new printer. Back to the build. So we get a new resin sensor. Oh, what's that on that cable? Is there a component hidden in there? I almost want to take the shrink wrap and see what's in there. I do want to take off the shrink wrap and see what's in there. What are you? You look interesting. So old cable, where is that? There it is. Old cable, just a cable, just a plug in a cable. New cable, got something inside. I want to know. Yeah, this might break it, but I just have to know what's inside. You are a capacitor. You're a little ceramic disc capacitor. Hi there, little capacitor. That's interesting. So basically they are, so it's just like a little, how much are you? Where's your value? Your value is on the other side. 222, that is, how much is that? 2.2 nanofarad? Is that correct? 2.2 nanofarads of capacity added in series with the capacity of the vat and the bed. 220 pico. Okay, 220 pico. A very small capacitor. And I guess I should at least add some fresh tape over this. I don't have any, I've got electrical tape over there. I will use some good old gaff tape. Good for everything. They are adding a 2.2 nano. I was right. Okay. So they are adding a bit more capacity to their measurement path. So I guess the varies. I mean that would make whatever circuit is in here less sensitive, but I guess they just had problems with measuring that small of a capacitance. Not pretty, but it works. It's prettier than me, so it's gotta be good enough. And I'm still trying to understand why they're adding a capacitor, but Insert M4x6 screw through the attach. To the left M4 screw hole, back to the printer. So it's basically, it's the same connection as before, same connection spot. And we do need to use the rear thread. Oh God, there's so many threads here. Not the one that's all the way in the back, and this one, and also not this one. Okay. Oh, gaff tape is so much, yeah, gaff tape is so much better than duct tape. Absolutely. So you go, oh, that's going to be horrible to show. This thread, there, not this one, but that one. And I guess we can reuse the original screw. Whoops, there goes the light. I guess I will I will screw this in, and then I'll have to grab a USB cable real quick for that LED panel. Because they're only including ball head hex keys, it does make sense to start tightening them by hand and just to guide it into the thread. That's actually a 2.5 still. No, maybe a little more. How are they sensing the resin levels? So the way I understand it is this entire tray that I'm screwing this cable onto, this is electrically insulated from the rest of the printer. So you can see kind of, I think there's some, yeah, there's some rubber insulators on this sheet metal hinge basically. And the motor's on plastic stilts, and like this thing is completely insulated. This tray is insulated from the rest of the frame. And the board basically senses how much capacitance there is between the vat that is in here and the build tray that moves down over the vat. And it can use that capacitance value, and I guess as it moves down that changes, and it can look at how that curve changes, etc. It can use that information to determine how much resin is in there, because if there's resin in there, that capacitor you're building between your build platform and your vat or your vat frame, that capacitance changes based on whether there's resin inside or air. And I guess that's what they're measuring. Sonst habe ich gehört aufs Aluminium. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, you wow, how did Vape Sir, how did you catch that? That could have spelled some trouble. Yeah, I did actually assemble this wrong. So the toothed washer actually needs to go between our connector and the aluminum plate, not between the screw head and the connector. Usually it makes no difference, like in a normal setup, but because this is like trying to poke through an anodized layer of aluminum, it does in fact matter. You know what I could do? Just tilt this thing on the side. So much easier. I guess not much more for you guys to see, but I guess there was plenty to see and to catch that I did assemble it wrong, so can't be that bad. Don't different resins have different dielectric constants? I guess they would, but also I guess they're not that far apart from each other. All right, that is better. They're still significantly different, even if it's different resins than air, so yeah. We do have the through connectors, the ones that take, like, we didn't tell them that, huh? That. The cable must guide to the back of the printer. Keep an eye on the left screw hole. So we did that. We did that, we used that one. And connect it to the board. Guide the cable with slack. So the connector is this one back here. Yeah, this Prusa board is quite interesting because it's like a two-part board. There's the electronics board, which is, I guess, a 4 or 6 layer, designed in collaboration with LDO motors, with the, what is that, A64, what is that, Pine? Basically your CPU processor board. up here with the LCD connections and stuff, and then you have your power board down here, which I guess is a simpler PCB design process, but has a completely different board. So you have two like of these long, slender boards that are connected with just a 10-pin connector in between here, and there's stuff plugging into each one of them. So also just noticing there are like 3 little buttons on here. Wonder what those do. Right. Do not pull the cable, guided with slack. We are doing that. Locate the 20-pin slot on the A64. Take the printed A64 connector reducer. Ah, that's what that's for. Oh, okay, that's not the cleanest solution. Make sure the top sign is in the upper position. So we're basically plugging in a connector that is not made for this pin header, and we're using a 3D printed shroud to make it fit. That's an antenna. That's going to be quite tight. I think I'll tip this. No, you know what? I'll get a USB cable real quick, plug in my LED panel, and I'll be able to show you much better from the side once I have my LED panel plugged back in, once I'm illuminated again. You know the dilemma when you need a USB-C cable? All you find is USB-As or micro USBs. When you actually need micro USB cable for once, all you're finding is all the USB-Cs. That's a USB-C. Power bank. There you go. And we have light. Hopefully a bit more than this. Okay, 80% is all it's going to do on on USB power. That's fine. Resin impregnated with metal would mess with the sensor. I guess it would. I guess it would. Yeah. Yeah, I did use the I did do all my resin mixing experiments in the Mars, I think. So that's that would not be something I would have found out on this machine. So, oh nice, look at that, so well illuminated. Pretty, we still can't see. So we have this 20-pin connector. That's just a 20-pin pin header, and we slide this cover over this. That just sits on there. And then we plug in a cable with the red pin facing the left side, or the red cable facing the left side. So this just sits in there like that. Okay, so basically all that, sorry if you guys couldn't see that, all that reducer does is it guides you into the correct 4 pins. Doesn't really do anything for securing the cable. So this is a locking connector. This is a connector that has a little locking tab on there that you have to press down to unlock it. But it just clips into the printed shroud. So basically, you could just leave the printed shroud out. This is simply to align this connector to the correct 4 pins. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. I'm also not a fan of me putting gaff tape over this connector thing, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Connect the boost motion cable labeled M to the lower left connector. So that just goes into Probably the only one it can fit into, down here. There we go. Disconnecting the thermistor cable. But we just plugged that in on the other side. Reconnecting the thermistor cable. Ah, you get a new spot for this. Push both. Make sure they're not protruding from the printer. Okay, so that's cable management then. So basically we just move. Wow, this, I don't know what sort of black magic is making this thing run, but basically we are disconnecting the thermistor from this connector. That's why it's called disconnector. Then we're plugging it back into the second one over here. So I don't know if this is like some ADC channel that's now unusable because they're using this thing, or because the screen is different or something, but on the one hand, it's like, it's quite amazing that they're able to make this work, because this is driving a different screen, from what I know, is not trivial with like the same hardware. These interfaces are anything but standardized, and in fact it's actually using a mechanically different connector as well. So driving a different screen is not that trivial, and that I think is I believe is the trickiest part with the Sheet 2 hardware as well, driving all the different screens, because they are using proprietary electronics to do that. The fact that Prusa can make it work with the existing hardware is pretty cool, but you can see like how much hackery you have to do with that. You have to do to make that happen. So a bit of cable management. I guess we're not plugging anything else into that side. So let's get that side just a bit managed. So yeah, I think the main goal here is to make sure that we can slide over the cover and not tear anything off. That should be good enough. Front panels, oh god, front panel connectors. Why did those never get modernized? Like we've now got the USB 3.1 connectors. Those are great. Like why front panel connectors are I mean, the layout is mostly standardized. Why isn't it just like a nice locking connector like we're using in here? Could be so easy. Okay, prepare the UV LED. Both boost bars cables under the electronics. Remove the protective foam. We did that. Avoid touching the lenses and applying grease to the lenses during assembly. Yeah, I did not touch the lens surface. I did touch the side, but that should be okay. M4x8, M4x5 you removed, and M3x18. List continues. These, I mean, I'll grab those once we need them. Heatsink holder lock and nitrile gloves. Okay, we're wearing gloves in a second, I guess. Insert the M4x8 into the heatsink holder lock. Look from above through the print display hole. The what? Oh, the print display, the masking screen hole. Okay. Place the heatsink holder lock to the left side of the next to the UV LED fan. Just put this thing here. And make sure the long part points towards all the cables. And the narrow part towards the back. Make sure to place the wire tightening must be exactly parallel to the electronics holder metal sheet. This is crucial. This is crucial. And then there's an extra step in here. There's another screw. So this one we have tighten as well. So I feel like this should be a separate step, since this is so crucial with this one. Okay, let's try and do this. Yeah, neat wiring. I don't have that. Tame that rat's nest. Yeah. Eventually, maybe not. So you look into the void. You just go in here. There's a thread down there. There's an M4 thread. There you go. That has caught, and I believe that is the correct orientation. You know what? If I put my phone here and I add some extra light, maybe you guys can actually see something. There we go. Look at that. Now I can see because my phone's in the way. So maintain orientation. That's going to be tricky. So if I grab an extra tool and just push this around while I do that, and of course if it's this crooked, of course it's not going to work. But hoping this won't need to be like super accurate. That's a PTG print, by the way. You can hear that. Whose idea was the LTT store domain? That's mine. That is my domain. That's my idea. Okay. That cable is not where I wanted. I guess that needs to be a bit more out of the way, but that is, I believe that is how it's supposed to. Ooh. That's an antenna wire. I believe that is how it's supposed to be managed. And then we add the other M4x5, so that is a screw that we are reusing. That is one of these. That just goes over here. Just a couple turns to get it to grab. Do I still have the? No, I don't have LTT store on the Stream Deck anymore. Too bad. Yeah, but that joke gets old really fast, but it's fun while it lasts. Make sure there are no cables in this area. Oh. Optical sensor cable may guide this way. If this cable guides, follow the next step. Disconnect, push the whole cable under the gap inside the printer, so just reroute it somewhere else, I guess. There, yes. There. Yeah, I don't know why it's routed there when it can just be routed there, so I'm gonna do that. So, guess I can, there's a zip tie there, so I'm gonna unplug it here. And then this pushes out from here. Black printer, it's kind of hard to show stuff, but hey, it is how it is. And then that plugs back in there. I guess. Just a quick reroute. Just to make sure we're actually not plugging this into the wrong one. Yes, that is exactly where I plugged it in. Guided it. Did it, plugged it in there. What is that? Oh, that's, oh, God, I thought this was a marking. I thought they were marking this connector. Right, inserting the UV LED assembly. Okay. Insert the M3x18 into the heatsink holder, just like in the picture. Just start the thread. See the second picture. Don't thread this in too far yet. That is interesting. Okay, so there is a little tab that's bent up in the sheet metal. I'm going to avoid plonking this down onto the table. And we thread this in from this side. So this almost looks like an adjustment screw or something. But I guess this is what latches onto that orange part in a second. And there we go. That should be enough. Not protruding on the underside, not protruding down here. And then I guess we still need cables and stuff. It will protect the UV LED assembly from grease. Okay. Did grease ever invade anyone? Why would you need protection from grease? Oh, come on. Come on, nitrile glove. That's not how you're supposed to work. Yes, this is still fine. So make sure the flat connector is facing you. Carefully insert. Okay, so we connect this, we plug this in a second. And we drop this in with the connector facing me. Insert the UV LED. We drop it in from the right side. Okay. Stop in front of the electronics holder and then plate by its backside. So tilt it up until you line the keyhole on the heatsink holder metal sheet with the M4 by 5 on the, okay, so you catch the screw on the bottom. You catch the screw on the bottom. And then look through that gap. Oh God, that crack is filled really well on my printer. And then slide it to the front. Oh God. Make sure it moves evenly on both sides. Use reasonable force. Then screw the right side. The screw on the right side should slide easily into the oval groove. Okay, I guess this is one of those things that you just have to do and feel. Print convincingly looking hardware bears. Yeah, it would be pretty crunchy though, but. And make sure no cables are pinched. Well, that's going to be the tricky part though. So, okay, so we've got this part that goes over the orange bit and this keyhole over here that catches that screw head. Whew. Oh well. And this connector needs to be pointing towards me, so let's just go for it. That part with make sure no cables are pinched? That's going to be tricky. So so there's a cable here that's the stepper for the actuator. I'm supposed to tilt this back. There we go. There's one side. I'm sure we're sitting on we're sitting on all the cables. I can't even see down there. Okay, so that side is caught. That side is done. So we pull this forward to lock it. So then this side over here, how do we get you to lock? The keyhole slightly to the front of the printer. Make sure the screw on the make sure that nothing hits. Okay. Possibly removing the screen would help. There is no screen. Well, you mean the front screen? Maybe, but like it's not like you're seeing much from the front. You actually need to see it. You need to see in from this side mostly, and there's like you don't see anything from that side. So this gap down here, this is where it's supposed to look through. So I'm going to take a quick look through this, and God. So the most important thing I'm going to check for right now is to make sure I don't pinch any cables, because that would be disastrous. And I can't see anything. Make sure you're not pinching any cables. Well, I'm not seeing if I'm pinching cables. But I have reason to believe that I am not pinching any cables right now. So theoretically, I should be able to slide this into position somehow. Nope, touch the lens. This is... Okay, it's weird because this side is like kinda feeling like it's scraping over something. Are we pinching the thermistor cable? Got a bit of a view from this side. I know this is not very exciting for you guys to watch, but it's also not very exciting for me to do because it is mostly stressful. And yep, we are pinching everything over in this side. This is Pinch City. Oh, okay. Push the cables out of the way. So basically just stuck an Allen key in there. Allen key goes in here, pushes all the cables out of the way. And now it looks like this has actually dropped down, and it feels like it is, yeah. This is pushed down, so I guess I get to lock this down now with the M3 screw. Tighten this one. When do I get to tighten the M3 by? Okay, from the front bottom left corner of your printer, tighten the M3 by 18 lock screw. Make sure the UV LED assembly says flush all the way with the printer bottom plate. Did that. Avoid touching the lens. Okay. Did not do that. Okay, so basically I push this down and forward. Then I tighten this screw. How do I even get to that screw? Need that. Yep, I guess this is the way. This looks off center. This looks like it needs to move forward quite a bit more, but I think that's all it's gonna be for now. Also, it looks like the left side could move a bit further forward still. That's the side that is... Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, so that one's moving. Huh, I guess this one on the right is not in the correct position then. So undo this a bit again. Oh yeah, okay, so this can still move forward. So this Okay, just a quick follow-up because I don't think the YouTube stream has actually ended yet, and I can add on to the back of it. Somebody posted, who posted that? Turn down JG posted, says you need to reduce the tower sensitivity, and I did that. Do you really want to cancel the wizard? I did that, so that is in settings and sensors. No, that is in, God, we're platform and resin tank. So there is platform axis sensitivity, and that was on -1. For some reason, I don't know why that was on -1. And I set it to +1, which means it's more sensitive. And if I do printer calibration now, it runs into the top of the axis a couple times, quite violently, skipping a couple of steps and stuff. But it passes, it works. So still, that's gonna be something that's happy. That makes Tom happy for the night. Just wanted to add that onto the back of the stream. I'm still not gonna print today, but that's all that was. Maybe that should be in the help article. Like I was about to tear this printer apart. Not necessary, just adjust the sensitivity. So that's all that there is to that. And again, thanks everyone who's still around, and good night.